Hi there, I'm Scott Campshafer, and I'm a clinical social worker here in Austin, Texas. And I'm wanting to talk to you today about change and how that can negatively affect people's ability to deal with grief and loss. Now, one of the constants in life is change. It's often been said that the more things change, the more they stay the same. And yet, there are people who struggle with adapting to change. And oftentimes these individuals have grief and loss issues that have never been fully resolved, so that every time a change comes up, even though it might be a positive change, it can bring up some of these same feelings of sadness and grief that have beleaguered them in the past. And change is a constant these days, and especially with technology being the way it is, new innovations happening on a daily basis and things moving at such a rapid pace, it can be very difficult for people to adapt to change, especially if they've had losses or traumatic losses that have been devastating in some way, shape, or form that they've never been able to process and to get through and to move on to the next thing. Oftentimes in our culture, it's like the idea is just get over it. You'll be okay. Just let it go. Put it behind you. But it's a lot easier said than done. And so this is pretty much on my mind now because I'm in the process, will be soon, moving to a new office. So this may be one of the last videos I record in my current office. And so when the process of change happens for people who do have issues with grief and loss, it's important to, take extra care of yourself and do things that are nurturing for yourself to help to be able to deal with the changes as they come, because these can, as I mentioned before, bring up issues of grief and loss that haven't been resolved before. And maybe if I'm even going through a positive loss and yet or a positive change, I should say, and I have a loss issue that wasn't resolved 5, 10, 15 or more years ago, it can bring up negative feelings that go with a change that wasn't so good. So, and this is very true of people who've grown up in abusive families where there were addictions or other things that made it hard for them to grow up. So these are times when it's important to take better care of yourself and to get extra support that you need to help you get through the changes. And if there are losses that are back in the past that you haven't fully grieved or worked through, then getting in contact with a mental health professional like yours truly, who has some ability to help people to process out the negative feelings and thoughts or core beliefs that still may go with losses that haven't been grieved from years ago, can be really essential in being able to move into the next phase of one's life, because changes are both positive and negative, but they often turn on how people perceive them and how people view them, and those can be determined by whether they have baggage from the past that hasn't been worked through or hasn't been processed. So, and a lot of that can become in the form of fear. What's the next stage in the process going to bring? So, if you have any, changes that are coming up that you're busy, facing, and you feel a great sense of anticipation or alternately dread about them, especially if there is the dread, and feelings of foreboding, that can be important to get professional help in dealing with, because the changes are what they are, but it's a big difference being made by what we bring to the changes that we experience. But they need not bog you down, and they need not create this eternal sense of, oh, it's the next thing and the next thing, and I'm not going to handle it well, and I'm not going to be able to get through it. Whatever it is that might be coming up, a professional can be a great person to help you work it through, be they a clinical social worker like me, or a licensed professional counselor, or a psychologist. All of these individuals can be great at helping people get through the changes and work through the losses that may need to be worked through to help them to make the next successful transition in their lives. And if you live in this Austin, Central Texas area, one of my specialties is grief and loss, and I would be happy to talk to you. If you call me at the number on my website or my Facebook page, I can give you a free 15-minute consult to give you a better idea of whether I would be able to help you in dealing with the changes that you're facing or you're dealing with, or the losses that you haven't completely worked through. But whatever you do, take care of yourself and get the support of others who care and who can maybe just reach out to you on a regular, ongoing basis, especially if you are dealing with grief and loss, because people who are dealing with grief and loss are not inclined to reach out to others for help. But those, your situation is one where you need ongoing support and regular interactions and check-ins with other people. So get the support that you need. If I can be a part of that, let me know. But in any case, I wish you the best of health, mental health, and the best for the changes that might be coming up in your life. Take good care. Bye.